Hey yo, black man, what's happening, man? E aí, preto, hermano. Você sabe que é bom. Grato por mais dia. Now, in this one, right? No video clips today, but I do have a quote. Oh, I'm sorry, I said a quote. I do have a post I'm going to read to you guys, right? And I'm going to put it on the screen right now. So, you have this female on threads. Now, I recently, well, not too recent, but about a month ago, I deleted my Instagram threads because I got tired of people doing the engagement farming thing, the aura farming, trying to just rage bait for clicks and views, and not even necessarily views, but just an interaction on the page, because that's how desperate that's how desperate black women are right now, just for some kind of interaction, just for some kind of attention, because black men are waking up. I don't know if my content is getting out there. I'm pretty sure other content creators' content is getting out there, but black men are pulling back, dude. We have been so loose and so free with our attention that the average black woman is really smelling herself. The average black woman thinks her shit don't stink. Now, I'm not saying that, a female who's a 10-10 shit doesn't stink, because it definitely does. But the average female, she needs to be humbled. So listen, right? Let me read this to you guys. Shorty said, I only get approached by unattractive men. Attractive men just look past me. I won't lie. I've shot my shot and slid in a few DMs, and they do not be responding. Either I gotta humble myself or someone has to explain the psychology behind this. Let me humble you first and let me explain the psychology behind this. First of all, you're average. That's why attractive men don't look your way. You are average. I went to her Instagram page. She is average. But like I said, she has titties and she has some ass. So that's why black women feel like guys should be looking at me, because why? You have ass and titties, something that comes standard, something that's default off the factory line for all women. Yes, some women may have more ass and titties compared to others. Some may have less, but again, just because it's bigger doesn't mean better. Again, that's what their mind is stuck in. And I'm not, you know, what's so aggravating about this is that the average black woman does not think she's average. See, in America, because we're pretty much, as black men, we're trained, and even after you kind of break out of that training, break out of that programming, you realize in order to get some attention or validation or sex, whatever you want from a black woman, you have to simp. Damn near. You have to simp. No guy can sit here and talk about how he never simped. Again, even in my days where I was still trying, I simped a little bit. Now my simp bone was very weak. They broke early on, and that's how I was able to break out of it. But most guys, you're trained to simp and you're trained to accept disrespect. You're trained to accept bad treatment. You're trained to accept a lot of bullshit from women, specifically black women, because why? They know you've been starved out, because it has been a collective subconscious training, right, passed down from generations, that we're going to shut out most men. Most men won't have any access to pussy. Most men will be blocked off from reproduction. Most men will be blocked off from just good treatment and attention from black women. That's just how it is, right? Now, she's talking about how she slid into DMs and guys are not, hitting her back. And that's the reality, right? In one of my video clips, I told you guys, right? You miss 0%. I'm sorry. Yeah, you miss 0% of the shots that you don't take, right? And as the average man, but in their eyes, the average guy is unattractive, we're shooting shots at them. And pretty much you're going to miss, 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 miss. Now, the average female who's on your level doesn't think she's average. She's shooting above her station. So when she looks at these high level guys, high status guys, the guys that she considered to be highly attractive, what is she doing? Miss, 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 miss. Now, if you ever been around these average black women, again, she's not the one who can command the guys who she want to give her a whole bunch of attention, She can't command those guys to take her to Roof Chris, Steak 48, Ocean Prime. She can't command 200, 300 shit. She can't even command $100 dates with those kind of men because why? You're average. Why would I spend that kind of money on you when those guys at that top of the food chain, in her eyes, right? He can just, actually get with a super attractive woman and spend that kind of money and kind of get more so of what he wants. The average girl, in his eyes, she's not worth that, right? Again, you as the average man, you can accept that you're average. She's thinking, okay, but God's been calling me cute. God's been calling me gorgeous. God's been calling me beautiful. That's because guys have been forced to play the game in a way where we cannot win, right? Most guys, let's be honest, you have more L's than you have W's when it comes to these black women. Most guys won't admit it, but it's the reality, right? So when you look at the fact that black men, again, you pull away, right? They can feel the fact that you pulled away because why? Less attention, less dates, right? Guys aren't shooting their shots no more, and they feel that pressure, right? So, and again, you're average. Keisha, I went to your page. That's not your real hair. Oh, and again, because you have ass and titties, okay, so what? Every woman has ass and titties. Okay, some may be bigger than the others, but no, after you get past the physical, how do you treat a man? Most Keishas, you don't treat men good. So again, like I said before, if you've been around these Keishas, what they do is when they get in close proximity to these high tier guys, I've seen the text messages, I've seen the DMs. They literally throw pussy at these men. No date is needed, right? No spending hours on FaceTime is needed. No texting every day is needed. She's willing to come over to his place, right? The same way how they tell men, oh, I don't want to come over on the first date. I want to go here on the first. They want to command other men, right? The guys who they don't deem as, those high status men. She wants to tell you what you, I'm sorry. She wants to tell you what you should do with your money to impress her. But those men that she wants, it's just come to the crib and get fucked. You see how nasty the game is? So that's why those guys, they just smash and dash them, right? Smash and dash. Now, let me point something out, right? When you look at brothers who go overseas and get the passport, when you notice something about these other countries, there's a ranking, right? There is a system, right? There's literally first place, second place, third place. Women in other countries know where they stand. In America, specifically, let's keep it on black women. Black women don't know where they stand because why? The game is in their favor. It's rigged. So again, the average girl, a 5 out of 10 female, feels like she's an 8 out of 10 because why? As black men, we've called her cute. We've called her gorgeous. We've called her attractive. When you pull up in these other countries, right? Let's keep it on. Matter of fact, it's a global thing. Let's just be honest, right? As a black man, when you pull up in these other countries, and again, you know what's attractive to you, to your eye. But again, what's attractive to you as a Western black man, men in these other countries, they're not in that same dynamic how we are in the States, right? They're not playing that same game simply because their currencies aren't as strong as ours. So men can't even simp even if they wanted to. That's why, if you notice something, buying sex around the world is like a common thing because men want the access without all the headaches. So again, simping isn't even a real thing. Only in powerful countries men are allowed to simp and women kind of have a inflated value of themselves because why? We can kind of gear things in our way. When you go in these poor countries, and it seems like the poor countries actually have more attractive women, right? But again, you pull up in a country like Brazil as a black man, because again, matter of fact, yeah, let's use Brazil because in my intro, that's me speaking Portuguese. Now, you pull up in a country like Brazil, whether you're especially when you're talking to Keisha in Brazil, nobody, well, let me not say nobody, maybe black men But the white men don't look at Keisha in Brazil as beautiful. You pull up in Brazil as a black man and you call a Keisha beautiful, I can guarantee you're probably the first man, if not ever, or the first man in a long time who's called her beautiful. Because why? She understands I'm not beautiful. Women who are really beautiful, whether it's Brazil, whether it's America, whether you're in Russia, Sweden, the UK, Japan, China, women who are truly beautiful are making money off her beauty. Men are throwing money at her. Men are trying to fly her out somewhere. Men are trying to pay her bills. And now again, America, UK is a little different because why? These are powerful countries. An average man can pay a female's bills, right? And that's for an average woman. So it's not the same. Again, a country like China, again, a population that's like 3 times the size as the US. You think the Chinese men who have real money, right? Real money, he's paying the bills of an average Chinese woman. You think Japanese men, especially in those countries where they're strict about the standard, again, even in Brazil, right? Women already understand wearing fake hair and weave. You got a colored wig on top of your head. You're a reject. You're a reject to society. You're fat. You're a reject. No one wants you. You know what I'm saying? But because in other countries, there is a system in place. Women know where they rank. So when you pull up in a country like Brazil, yes, that's why I tell guys you need semen retention because you're going to look at women who are considered to be average in that country. And it's clear as day the average woman, even for Keisha, the average Keisha in Brazil, the average white girl in Brazil, or the Pardo, or the Preto, or even the white ones, the average girl in those countries compared to the average version of her in America, it's clear as day she ranks higher on the physical beauty, right? She ranks higher in that level. Again, that same female in America, she would have so many men simping on her. And again, her value would be inflated because you wouldn't have access to her. So again, black men, it just goes to show in America, we're not playing a fair game, right? When you pull up in another country, you see real beauty. I'm not talking about wigs. I'm not talking about weave. I'm not talking about pounds of makeup, right? You're looking at real beauty, the kind of women that men from these countries, again, you think the Brazilian soccer team, first of all, the majority of those men, the majority of the Brazilian soccer team, again, look at the Brazilian soccer team, look at their wives. Those men are all with white women. Now, do I believe, again, I'm not from that country, so I'm not going to kind of go into their politics behind that, right? But again, you think these guys think black is beautiful? And again, when it comes to the black women who they do think are beautiful, you think the average Keisha feels like I'm beautiful? That's why black men, I'm telling you, when you get on that semen retention, you gain discipline, you gain self control. Your brain will rewire back to a childlike state where you can actually analyze things from the proper perspective and not just sex, sex, sex. Gotta bust some cheeks, gotta bust this nut. Like, come on, dude. Think like a proper, normal human being and not a sex deprived man. I understand Keisha has deprived most guys of sex. And again, whatever sex you can get, it's most likely not from a woman who's your type. You're already forced to lower your standards to have something. Like I said, black man. This is why I make this content. And for the Keisha in this Instagram thread, listen, I explain the psychology behind it. And again, you are average. The same men who you think are unattractive, but they're approaching you. See, men, we're realistic. We live in reality. We can look at a female and tell she's average. She's on our level. So that's why you're getting approached by who? Men on your level. Water always seeks its level. So you're getting approached by men who are what? On your level. But because of American culture, simp culture, inflated value, the fact that we have a powerful currency, And again, the average dude making 40K, he can simp. The average guy making 50K, he can simp. Shit, you can make 30K and still simp. So that's the reality behind it. Anyways, black men, I'm out. Peace.